That used to be a half wall. Oh, really? And I sealed it like a month ago, and it's made a huge difference. So there's a garage door back there. Oh, there's a big draft. Yeah. So a buddy of mine did it. His construction work. Nice. So he just came and sealed it up. Just put a drywall. Drywall and some insulation. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, it just came from Oz right now. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's cold.
It is.
But yeah. Cold and windy right now. And I usually give it a couple of weeks, just in case you have to return or anything. And then when you do cut it, but I suggest that you ground it out. This one, I think, is a soft rubber, but this way you're not like poking yourself with the sharp. You just cut straight across. You'll have two. He's not friendly. Wait, this well. Excuse me. He listens well. Oh, he gets this one. If you cut it straight across, it's going to have the twin hinges. So then I just suggest that you round it out. And also give yourself some slack, to work with. Because I had one client that cut it right. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, so you don't want to do that. So who's going to go first through with Zoey? Go ahead. And then I'm assuming I keep it in my hand in the beginning because you're going to be needing it a lot. And I think going to your chest makes it a little bit more complicated. And I train on the left. Does that work for you guys?
No, so I normally walk her on the left, she walks her on the right.
On my right.
Okay. So we have to stay to the same side.
I pick a side to make it easier. Otherwise, if there's two answers, she's not going to know. Okay.
Left is what I want.
Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to explain the exercise, and then we're going to find the working number and everything, and then we'll get started. Okay. So exercise is very simple. Whenever Zoey gets ahead of you, you're going to hear me say turn. And when I say turn, you're going to 180. So you're going to be right like this. Okay? She's going to pass, turn, like that. She's going to pass, turn. Okay. We're going to repeat that process. Now, when I say turn, I'm also going to say tap. Okay? So it's going to be, so he passes, turn, tap, tap, tap. Good. She passes, turn, tap, tap, tap. Good. We're going to keep repeating that. Okay? If Zoey moves to your right, you're going to keep your movement. And when I say pull to your left, you're going to pull just enough to direct her, but you're not going to drag her over. Okay? So you're going to be walking. She goes to the right side. You're going to pull, tap, tap, tap. And as soon as she pops over to the left, I'm going to say good, and then you're going to relax. Okay? For the most part, those are like the three things. Anything else that pops up, I'll coach you through it. We want to give slack so that Zoey has the space to make mistakes. So go ahead and give her about another 6 inches of slack here.
Yeah.
I saw the lights blinking blue, yeah, that should be fine. So go ahead and give her some slack there. A little bit more. I would take up right there. Perfect. And then relax. Good. Okay. So we want that slack to allow Zoey to make mistakes. Okay. So most people, when they try to teach the heel, when the dog passes, they'll correct them. Right. They'll say no, and then, zap or whatever. Dog comes back and they'll say heel. Keep walking. No, zap. Heel. Right. And it's too complicated for a dog to pick up because they don't understand that this is wrong. This is not wrong. This is only wrong because the dog is on the leash because the human requires that. Does that make sense? That pulling on a leash is not something that is right or wrong to them. They're just like, we have 4 legs, you have 2 legs, keep up, right? So what I do is what I call the correct redirect. You're going, don't go that way because I'm going this way. Okay? So that's why that tapping is important because that's what's communicating to her, telling her the wrong way. And that's where the number is important. So in the video, I think I talked about 3 numbers: connection, perception, and I think I call it operating. In the video, I also call it working number. Connection is like Zoe staring at a squirrel, and you're tapping, and you see this twitch, but she's still staring at the squirrel. Okay, so you have connection, but she's completely unfazed. Perception is same context, staring at a squirrel. She feels it and kind of goes like, what's going on? Right? So very subtle. And then working is Same thing, she's staring at a squirrel, tap, whoa, what was that? It's a very kind of exaggerated response, and that's the response we're looking for. That's what makes the obedience effective, no matter the environment, okay? So most trainers go with as low as possible, and they work at these stupid low levels, like 5 and 8. I get like maybe 1 dog a year that's that sensitive, okay? Most dogs are typically 25 to 35 range, and then I get some extremes of like 85 and above, okay? So today we're gonna find her working number, and her working number in this kind of setting, right? So it's like 35 here, I would anticipate, exactly, it might be like 45, 55 or whatever, okay? But that's why recognizing what the working number is in the environment is important, okay? Questions so far? No. So what's your number currently set at? Let's go to 10. And you're gonna stand where you are, and you're gonna look at Zoe. And when I say tap, you're gonna press that bumpy button, okay? So tap, tap, tap. Okay, 15, that's like kind of a perception response there.
It does,
Tap, tap, tap. Okay, so that's more perception. She's doing more of a response. You want a little bit more? It's going to go to 20. And yeah, if you do 19, 21, 22, that's okay. Tap, tap.
She's really wondering what's going on.
Tap. Good. Let's try 25.
So what are you trying to get out of it right now?
I'm looking for a little bit more umph.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so tap. Let's go down to 22. Tap. Tap. There. So you see how quickly she moved there? Okay, that's what I was looking for. So that 20 to 25 gave us a little yip. So then I went to 22, 23. Okay.
What is it get from this or?
From the traction, correct, right? So dogs can yelp or vocalize either from surprise, physical discomfort, or emotional distress, right? Which doesn't mean like they're upset about that. If I have a dog that's very reactive and they're in reactivity mode, they're already emotional. Then I add in this, we get vocalization, okay? Because people typically, when they hear the yelp, they almost always assume, oh my God, my dog's hurting. And I go, not always. So it's like a little haunted house. You go in knowing it's fake, but you still get scared, right? Because you're already on edge. It's the same thing here, okay? So, but that was clearly some discomfort because nothing's going on. There's nothing else involved. And at 25, she gave the hips. I go, okay, cool, touch. 22, and 22 gave me that balance of movement and quickness. Okay, so what I'm trying to achieve from the get-go is what we call urgency. Okay, urgency. I recognize it's a quick movement. So if Zoe's lagging and I tap and boom, she runs to my leg, that's urgency. Okay, and you'll see other dogs, the owner will tap them, they're kind of like just trudging along. No urgency. Okay, so the more comfortable you are with just getting this done, the faster you're building more reliable obedience. Okay, because she's like, man, I want to stick to that leg because 22 went up. Okay, so and it's not, and the way we labor it is how she perceives it. So people typically think like, oh, you're punishing the dog. I go, no, because so punishment is actually the first approach. No, remote, heel. Okay, because you're punishing what she's doing and expecting her to know to walk with you. And what I'm doing is, oh, you're going that way, that's the wrong way, because I'm going this way. So the dog has perceived it more so as a communicator. Okay, communicator. Okay. Yep. And as we go along and we build on these concepts, it's going to start like it's just going to make more sense. Okay. So go ahead and position yourself.
So it's at 22, I guess.
22, yeah, in this kind of setting, with no dogs, passing and stuff like that. And then feel free to have a seat, by the way. So here, I'm going to have you go ahead and give her a little bit of slack. About that's good right there. And go ahead and just start moving, okay? And I'm going to coach you through this stuff. Go ahead and just move forward. And turn. Tap. Tap. Good. Keep straight. Turn. Tap. Keep straight. Relax your arm. Turn. Keep going. That's good.
I'm not tapping.
Yeah, correct. Only tap when I say tap.
Okay.
Good. Now slow walk, slow turn. Good. Now pick up your pace. Turn, tap, forward. Good. Turn, because she's expecting, you see how she keeps shaking her head?
Yeah.
Because it's new to her? So she's more sensitive, correct. Okay. But there was no tap there, right?
Nope.
Yeah, so she's just anticipating.
Oh, that's got it. It's like the haunted house kind of scenario.
Correct. Good.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Sorry.
It's all right. Go ahead and go down your collar. Go down to 18.
Yeah, right now she's like super obedient.
Well, it's because since she was coming to our daycare, because we technically reinforced that position, she's got familiarity with it. Yeah.
Wait, what position? Like just sitting next to
Yep. Okay. Forward and give that slack. There you go. Good. And turn. Tap forward. Good. Go in slow walk, but keep forward. Good. Go in slow turn. Good. Yep. Now pick up your pace.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Go in slow to slow turn. Good. Go and pick up your pace. Tap, tap. There. See how she ran up a little bit?
Yeah.
There you go. Turn. Tap. 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 There she goes. Good. Turn. Tap. Tap. Good. Relax your arm. Good. Turn. Tap. Tap. There you go. Good. Go into slow to slow turn. Good. Go and pick up your pace. Tap. Tap. Let's go. Let's go to 19, if you can.
So I guess right now, does she associate the no tap environment as the safe environment in a sense? No.
Correct. So like it's like you're tapping for if she gets out of position, and then when she's right at your left side, nothing happens.
So she kind of associates the leg as a safe environment.
Correct. When you feel this, you want to move in to that left leg. That's why I was saying we want to pick a side.
Okay.
Because if it's either or, when you tap her, she's not going to know which side to go to, and it causes confusion.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
So forward, and then you're going to turn. Good. Yep. Tap. There you go. Good. Now slow to slow turn. Good. Now you're going to keep walking, but you're going to slow walk like you are. Now here, lightly pull to your left. Tap. Tap. A little bit more of a pull. Tap. There you go. And relax. Good. Good. Now you're going to slow turn. Yep. Keep forward. Yep. Keep forward. Yep. Tap. 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 Keep moving. Tap. Tap. There she goes. Good. And relax. Good. A little bit of slack. There you go. Good. Slow to slow turn. Good. Oh, her leg got stuck. Just take up like 6 inches of slack. Yeah, so you see, now stand right next to Zoe. Step over. So you see where on your leash, there's like a little loop at the bottom?
Yep.
You see how it's right by her armpit?
Yep.
That's like the perfect length.
Okay.
Okay, because it's long enough to give her slack to make mistakes, but not too long that it gets tangled in her legs.
Gotcha.
Okay? And forward.
So she's stressed because right now it's like a new training.
Yes. Yeah. She's trying to figure out what's going on, but she's actually doing good. This is all good. Good. Now slow to slow turn. Good turn. Go ahead and pick up pace. Tap. Tap. Pull to your left. Tap. There she goes. Add a girl. Good job. Then slow and turn. Good turn. Keep forward. Tap. Good. Now slow walk. Good. Keep walking slow. Good. Now turn. Yep. Tap. There she goes. Good. Now slow and stop. Good. There she goes. Add a girl. Okay. So here, because I actually have another client right now who's a daycare dog, and they just started training, and it was the same thing. They're like, why did it happen so quick? I was like, so we don't train the dogs, okay? Like the board and trains. Those we train to transfer to the owner,
Right.
okay? But when we bring dogs in, because we know how, like you have a slip leash, and we can make a dog who's not trained with the correct tools walk as if they look like they're trained. Okay, so there's already familiarity because we do left side. These guys reinforce the sits before they go up through any thresholds and all that stuff. It's already there, but she's not gotten it from you.
Got it.
Okay, so now when you start to kick in with this, she's like, oh yeah, walking on the left side. Yeah, I do that with these guys.
It's very familiar.
Exactly, and that's why they catch on super quick. And then you might see like the auto sits and all that stuff because there's already some kind of baseline, but it just, she hadn't applied it to you because it wasn't,
Gotcha.
how do you say, commanded.
Yeah.
Make
So
sense?
it's more of like reinforcement.
Correct. So, because we get dogs here that maybe other daycares kicked out, and the owner's like, how do they do here? I'm like, they do great. And they're like, well, why? But they always complain about the other daycare. I was like, because we have structure. Right, we do a lot of stuff that other daycares don't do, so that makes those dogs behave well here. But if they went to the same daycare they went to before, it wouldn't transfer because they don't do what we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so now everybody would be on the same page. And that's when dogs make even more progress. Because like if when you bring Zoey in, you could bring her with her equipment and reinforce now the training that you're doing. Okay, because it's no extra work for us. It actually makes lives easier.
Yeah.
Because if we have a dog here that like has separation anxiety or something, and they've trained with us, well, we have the tool that we can correct them. So then we keep them on the same page as the owners. Okay, so yeah, when you bring her in, you're more than welcome to bring your collar, and we'll label it, and then they reinforce all that stuff.
So what's going on with their head right now? Do you think like is she like going?
Oh, so yeah, so right now. So the reason why I do these breaks is she's literally processing what just happened. Okay, her little brain is going like, what the hell is this? What's going on, right? And again, e-collar is not natural to dogs. It's something that we've created to teach them, but it's more along their lines of communication. And that's why we started low. We worked our way up. We found that number. 22 was like a little bit much. We went down to 18. 18 didn't seem enough, so I went up to 19. Okay, and then 19 was getting me the response I was looking for. So now she's learning or thinking or processing, what's this all about? And the reason why heel is like the most effective thing to teach first is one, almost everybody's problem is my dog pulls.
Yep.
Okay, so that's usually the first thing that people want to address. So that's part of it. The second thing is if you put this collar on Zoey, when you started remoting, she started to move, right? She started to fidget around because she's going, what is this thing? I don't know how do I get away from it? And most dogs will move away from the owner. Okay, so we use a moving command to help the dog get that out of their system, but then to also teach them, don't move away from the owner, move to the owner. Okay, so if I ever have to like emergency, a 127 max it out tap a dog, if I've done enough of this conditioning, their first instinct shouldn't be run away, it should be run back to Jesse. Okay, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. But that's why we do this exercise first. Yeah. It's a heel, like you guys are familiar with Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. So the first thing that he usually does is walks the dog. Now he doesn't do a heel like obedience heel, but he knows how to use that leash in a fashion that allows him to like get the dog to follow his lead, right? So that's why he does that, because he knows how effective it is for de-escalating and calming dogs down. It's the same thing for us, except, and I know Cesar's methods. I don't teach them anymore because it's just too complicated for the average dog owner to learn. This is much easier, as you can see, because it's really just every time she passes you, you always immediately 180 turn to the immediate right. Okay? Questions?
Yeah, so if you're walking her on the left side, and say the dog's approaching from the sidewalk, and I know that you're not technically supposed to have the dogs come like head to head, so we typically go around, but say there isn't an opportunity to go around and give space. How do you avoid them like interacting and
Okay. Right. So if Zoey has a good heel that she respects, right, that urgency, because urgency makes it important, right? If it's not important, they're not going to do it. So that's why I stress having that correct number. Is she should be able to just walk past the dog.
Yeah, and just ignore.
Yeah. Now what you may see in the beginning, because she's a friendly pup, is she might start to deviate, but as you're walking, if you see it early, you just tap and then boom, she'll redirect because her frame of reference is come to that left leg. Okay? So the only time you're turning is when Zoey gets ahead of you.
Okay, so what if she sees the dog and I notice her body language gets like super excited? Would I tap at that point?
You can keep, yeah, so there you can technically keep moving and tap and see what does that do. Because what you're doing is you're in the heel, she's getting escalated, and when you tap her, you're telling her not acceptable right now. Okay? Now, if you tap her and she stays escalated, that tells me whatever number I'm at is not enough. So I might go 18 to 22, tap. And she's still like this. Then I go to 30 and then tap. And all of a sudden she's back in line again. Okay? And I have another dog, the daycare dog that I was telling you about. His name's Wrinkles. His video's not up yet, but his video would be a good one to watch because he did exactly that. And you see it happen. We were working with him where he tries to deviate. He was like all over the place. And then finally we settled him, but his number when nothing was going on was like 25, 35. And then when a dog was in the picture, it was like 80.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little bulldog. He's a little tough guy. So, but that'd be like for you, that's a good visual. But otherwise, if it's like a social dog that I'm not worried about walking past, you would just keep walking. You keep your leash slack. If you want to curve to the right to give a bit more space, that's fine. And then you're just watching Zoey as you're moving. And then the moment you see her start to escalate or deviate, that's when you would tap. People tend to wait too late, or they'll wait for the dog to already
that's what I was wondering. It's like, at what point do you tap if she already notices the other dog? So
so you tap as soon as you see the shift.
Okay.
So if she perks up, and if I ignore this, it's going to happen, you would tap right there. Okay. The earlier you can catch it, the better and the easier. Because, like going back to Wrinkles, when he was already in the zone of like greeting the other dog, it was 80. But when we got him earlier, it was like 35, 45 or whatever. It's much easier to taper down. And knowing how to do both is good. Because life's going to throw you a lot of stuff. So that's why the way I teach this is I teach people how to think on the spot, to be very fluid with it, so you can adapt to the situations. Okay, that's the one thing about e-collar that's so great, is that you can adapt to the situation. So if like Zoey was running away because she was scared, well, you can make her come right back. You just have to know and be very comfortable with how that tool works. Okay?
So if she were to pass us, do we just tap to force her to come back to our left, or is the goal to turn around and then tap?
You will always tap and turn.
You will always tap and turn every time she goes in front of us.
Correct.
Got it.
Okay. So the reason for that is, remember earlier, if you tap her for this,
that's a punishment almost.
Right, punishment, and she doesn't connect that she's supposed to be here.
Right.
She doesn't understand that the tap was because she's supposed to be here. But when we do this for her, right, she passes you, she feels this, she doesn't like it. Mom's going that way. She catches up and it disappears. So she's thinking, oh man, every time I feel this, I'm going the wrong way. Mom or dad's always going the opposite way, and I'm right
so
next to
it's not teaching her to always look at us no matter what, pretty much.
So in the beginning, you may see that, but it goes away. Okay, because that's not realistic. Like, you're not going to be walking Zoey, she's not taking this all the time.
Right now, that's what she's doing.
Yes, because this is all new to her, right? So, like my dogs, if you see me walking with them, they'll be like this. She's like, taking in the environment and stuff. But the dogs have a really good, can develop really good body awareness. Okay, and when we teach the second class of the heel, it'll make more sense. But they can see the environment, but still be mindful of what you're doing. Okay? So, you trust me. You're gonna learn a lot.
To be on your heel or to be right behind your heel.
Right shoulder.
Sometimes like you'll see like the dog right behind.
Right.
Just to almost fall on the owner versus do like on the side.
Correct. I do right shoulder
to
left leg. A little bit behind is fine. Never ahead.
Right.
That's your visual. Okay. Right shoulder to the left leg. Their nose should fall no farther than one of your foot legs. Okay. Give a little slack here. And go ahead and start to walk forward that way. Tap. Tap. Good. And slow turn. Good. And pick up pace. Now slow walk. Good. Pick up your pace. Good. And slow turn. Yep. Pick up pace. Tap. Good. And slow walk.
Good. Pick up pace. Slow walk. Good. Turn. Pick up pace. Tap. Tap. Pull to your left. Tap. Good. Slow walk. And stop. Good. You're going to take 3 steps. Tap. Tap. Good. Wait a moment. Turn. Tap forward. There you go. Good. Pick up pace.
She's relaxing. Her ears are still down and everything.
Slow turn. Yeah, she's passive. She's focused right now. Good. Now slow to a stop. Good. 3 steps again. Good. 1 big step. Good. Yeah, going to fix her leash right there. Good. You're going to do 5 steps. Good. Okay. And go ahead and just give a tap here. See what she does. That's fine for now. Okay. I know she's got out of position, but I wanted her to put the butt down.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you see how she was able to follow each one of those movements?
Yeah.
That's the level of focus you have now. Okay. So that's heel. Okay. Now it's better than this. This is just the first half of it.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now when you're walking with Zoey, whenever you go on your walks, you'd be reinforcing this. Okay. Questions about this so far?
No. Good.
Okay. So all that you've achieved, because when I tell people, like when I take 5 steps, I'll take 5 steps. When I take 2, they take 2, right? Is I want them to be like your shadow. Okay. So if they're that focused on you, the dog that's passing or whatever, all that stuff that typically dogs struggle with, technically shouldn't be a problem anymore because you're more important now. Okay. So when we talk about discipline, like right now you just discipline Zoey. Okay. You're using consequence or discomfort to shape something. Okay. But when we talk about this, people tend to think of it as like, oh my God, you're hurting or punishing the dog.
Right.
I'm like, no, that's how the human brain works, but that's not actually how it's applied. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like, let's say we read 95 to Zoey right now. We would have been 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and we would have worked our way up. And then let's say at 95, she started to do this. I didn't pick 95.
Yeah.
She picked 95. Right? Earlier I picked 22 because that's what was working, but then I was like, she's too sensitive now. We went down to 18, then to 19. Okay? So it's as low as possible, but as high as needed. Okay? So if she's giving me the perfect speedy response on 8, then I'd be at 8.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't ever get married to a number. It's going to shift according to the environment. Okay? So, and your obedience is only as good as the environment you practice in. Which is why we liked working at Oz when the weather was nicer, because it was so busy. There's a lot of distractions there, right? So people are like, wow, this like is really effective. And then when they would go to their neighborhoods, maybe their number was lower because it's not as busy as Oz. Okay? So once you get used to it, you're gonna learn her ranges. And you're gonna learn like, oh, in the neighborhood it's 19, and we walk to the dog beach or the dog park, whatever, it's 29. And when we go down the forest preserve, it's 45. Because you're contending or competing with more things.
Yep.
Okay? So let's go ahead and swap handlers here. Yeah, it's going to be the bumpy one, and then go ahead and position her to your left. You can just step around here for now.
Okay.
And what I'm going to have you do is unwrap 2. Like that. That's good. Okay? And then you're going to go and just pivot off to your right like that. And tap. Tap. There you go. Good. So you see how she just crossed over to the left side? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because tap forward. Good. And then you're going to slow turn to your right. Good turn. And then pick up pace. Good. So that's why I was saying about picking a side. Because it makes transferring things very simple.
Thanks for training them.
This is how it works when I work with couples. I had one go ahead and turn. It's actually another Bernedoodle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and tap to your left, tap. And the wife did the first session, and the dog was all over the place. And she got it done. And then when the husband took the dog, easy peasy. Turn, tap, good. Good turn. Yep. Good job. Good catch. Turn again. Good. Keep forward.
Is there a reason why she's more agitated again?
Were you tap forward? There you go. Did you do any quick taps by chance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She may be more sensitive,
Okay.
so she's getting edgier.
Like
Okay.
she's anticipating it almost?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's kind of overcompensating. So like on those turns that he did there, did you see how she kind of sped ahead? That's what I call overcompensating. So she was overshooting. It's not uncommon in the beginning because she's trying not to get tapped. Good. As you expose her more to this, it should all just go down. Okay. Good. Go ahead and pick up pace. Good. And slow. And turn. Good. Go and pick up pace. And tap. There, see how she speeds up to the leg? Good. Now slow turn. Good. And pick up pace. And slow walk. Slower. Good. Pick up pace. And slow. And turn. Tap forward. Good. And pick up pace. Give some slack. There you go. And slow to a turn. Good. Now slow walk. And stop. Good. Okay. You're going to do 3 steps. Right. And I don't know if you saw how she was walking. How would you describe that?
That was easy.
Like obedient and slow and mindful.
Is there a reason
Mindful,
why she's not
yeah.
sitting her butt,
Excuse me?
though? Is there a reason why she's not sitting her butt?
Because we haven't taught it formally yet. So go ahead and give a tap here. And wait. Tap.
Again?
Yep. There. Okay. Now, when you did that last 3 steps and she moved forward, so it was kind of like this, cautious. Okay. So people see stuff like that and they're like, oh, the dog is scared. I'm like, it's not fear, it's caution. There's a difference there. So like people are typically cautious around cops when they're driving, right? All of a sudden you stop and you wait 2 seconds and you look both ways and then you go. Whereas in Chicago, like the rolling stop, most people do a rolling stop, right? But when you see a cop, all of a sudden it's like that's caution, right? You're doing things correctly because you don't want to get a ticket. That was caution. Okay. I want to see that stuff. Okay. I know in like a lot of dog training forums, books, and TV shows and stuff, they always talk about dog being happy. Now I want happy dogs. Okay. But happy and reliable obedience aren't the same. Okay. So I get plenty of people who have dogs who are very happy when they're like doing the recall and stuff, but the recall is not reliable. Okay, because it's not serious. Growing up, discipline, like I know he likes to be disciplined, no one wants to be spanked. It was part of the process. So there was times where I wasn't happy, but that was to raise me into a stable adult. Right. So same thing here, okay? And again, it's appropriate to the dog. So that 19 is that nice kind of, as low as possible high as needed number right now, that's getting the caution. When you tap, when I told you to speed up, did you see her?
Yep.
When she sped up and ran right to your leg, that was the urgency, right? So it's nuanced, but once you learn how to see it and recognize it and create it, it's very straightforward, okay? So what we're doing now is, if you're training with Zoey and it's taking like, let's say 8 taps before she does something, right? So that took you 2. So let's say instead it took you 8. That's a long time. Exactly. Because the reason why I stress urgency and speed of response is if you have any kind of delay in your commands, it tends to affect all commands. Okay? Now the one command that matters the most is the recall, come and call, right? So if I say sit and she waits, and then sits, okay?
Or you
then
call it does,
it's not going to go to the recall. Exactly, you're going to have slow recall. So you need to, it has to be the same for everything. I want a speedy sit, I want a speedy down, I want a speedy heel, I want a speedy recall. And
here, if every time you tap her, her response is quick, that's what you're conditioning. Okay, but if if it's like, well, yeah, she's not the fastest, but she does come. I'm like, yeah, but wait until you're in that emergency situation. It's not a good idea. You need it to be speedy. Okay, so when you're working with her, in the beginning, what I suggest is you go out, you start off with the potty break, get that out of the system first. Okay, then you go find that working number. I'd start at 10. Girl like her, I go jumps in 3 to 5. Okay, and then so let's say Zoe's over here sniffing, and I'm just testing, right? When you hit the right number, it's not going to be just a here. You know, it's going to be what we saw earlier, which is here, right? And you see that speed of response. And then I go, cool, 22. Then I start that walk. Okay. Now, the number of corrections should decline as you work with her. If, let's say I'm 22, every walk you have to turn 20 times. What does that tell you?
That she's moving away from my leg so often,
Too often.
or going ahead of me.
Correct, right? Because it's 20 turns every time. 22 is not high enough. So then I go to 26. And maybe when I'm at 26, 20 turns every walk becomes 10 turns every walk, which is better, but it's still 10 turns every walk. So then I go 30, right? And then maybe on 30, it's I turn once every other walk. That's a pretty big gap. And I go, okay, let me stick on 30. But then if it remains one turn every other walk, still not high enough, 34. But you're getting close, okay? So this concept is very simple to teach. I can teach a dog within 5 to 10 minutes and already go on an hour-long walk with them with minimal corrections. Because I know exactly how to find that number. That's going to get the dog to think like, boom, I want to be right there, okay? But it's teaching you how to recognize that and to get comfortable with it. The one thing that holds everybody back is the number, okay? Everybody feels bad. Or they get stopped and they're like, Jess, the dog was so good on 12 one day. I'm like, yeah, that one day for that one walk. But there's going to be hundreds and thousands of walks in the future, and that one number is not always going to be consistent. Okay? So, once you hit the magic number, you're going to notice like, oh wow, yeah, it's been a few days since I had to turn to correct Zoey. That's how you know you're doing good. That's how you know you found that appropriate working number or working range. Okay? So I have a structure. I have my 3 tap or 3 correction. So earlier when we were finding her number, we essentially did about 3 taps before bumping it.
Right.
And then when I thought I saw it, I wasn't too sure, I just did an extra one, kind of read a little bit more, and then I had to bump it. So if Zoe's off sniffing flower, and I'm trying to find that working number, 15, tap, 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 no response, 20. Tap, 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 no response, 25. See that? Until maybe hit 35, you go tap. All of a sudden, boom, very quick. So if not by the first tap, or by the 3rd tap, then I bump it. Then I have my 3 correction rule. If we're going on a walk, and every turn and tap is a correction, and I'm at 20, turn and tap, that's 1 correction. Turn and tap, that's 2 corrections. Turn and tap, that's 3 corrections. I'm gonna go to 25. Okay, then I reset. Do that 3 times. Still pulling, go to 30. And then when you hit that right number, you're going to probably do 1 turn and tap, and all of a sudden, boom, there she is. And you're walking for 30 minutes nonstop, no problem. Okay? So it's either the 3 tap rule or the 3 correction rule.
Okay.
Okay, so this way, as a lot of people would struggle with like, well, how do I know when to go higher? So I started doing that to give them a structure to practice fighting, and it's been working really well. Okay? So then, let's say every time you go on a walk with Zoey, once you hit like 45, that's when you notice like, wow, she's perfect at 45. Like every walk, once we hit at 45, that's when she's great. And you do that for a week. You've done your research, and you've gotten consistent results. 45. So then after a week, I'll talk to you, and I'll say, how's it? What's the highest you've been? How often have you go up that high, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll tell you, I think it's safe to say your number's around 45. Right? So then you start your next walk at 40. You're just underneath that 45.
Okay,
So every walk will reset at the 10?
Correct. You reset and you find that number again.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, every walk this week.
And every walk we start at 10?
Correct. You start at 10 to find the working number.
Okay.
And maybe you land on 22. Maybe one day you land on 26. and then you start your walk. But then as you're walking, because there's going to be things now, there's going to be squirrels and dogs and people and sounds, is the brain starts to get distracted. That 26 that you started with, exactly, and then you're going to end up bumping it. And then you'll find that at the end of the walk, it's going to be like, yeah, 45 is when she was perfect or whatever. And then you would tell me, and then I'd say, yeah, her number's probably in that range. And the reason why I go to 40 is I'm starting just underneath the number, so I don't catch you off guard. But then if you're like, yeah, even at 40, we always still go to 45 for the second week. Then I go, all right, now let's start at 45. Okay? And the next thing you know, now your walks are starting off perfect at the start. Okay?
Is it ever a different number between the handler? Okay.
Yeah, especially when I have one owner who's passive and the other's more assertive. And that's why the one color is also very effective, is because I can close that gap, because the more passive person would have a higher number, the more assertive person would have a lower number.
Okay.
Is there a reason why she's still panting, by the way?
Panting is venting stress. Okay? Panting is good, in my opinion, because it means like, yeah, that this is something, it means something. Okay? Now, as you expose more to this, e-collar does toughen up dogs, because you're giving your biting. Okay? So in the beginning, when I get emotionally weak dogs, after a few weeks, they tend to like perk up. And the owner's like, wow, the dog's so much more like just relaxed now. I'm like, yeah, because you've given them the physicality that other dogs would give them, but humans don't. Okay? You're going to do a tap here?
No, I want me to.
Very good. So the reason why we did that tap, and I'm not going to require this too much for this week, but heel is a package of commands. It's walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. Okay? Now, we're not really requiring that she sits right now. That's more of a class 2 thing. But if you see her do so on her own, that's perfectly fine. You can reward that. But I don't allow the down, because that it's technically breaking from the command. Okay? So even though I know like she's just relaxing and getting comfortable, she's not doing anything bad, you want to think in the sense of the dog, which is she decided to do something without permission, and then that becomes, well, I want to feed this dog, or I want to pee on this tree, or I want to sniff this flower. It becomes other things. Okay?
When you say reward, it's a reward with a treat.
You can reward with praise.
Oh, with praise.
Yeah. Now, you want to reward with food, I have no problem with it,
Yeah.
but it's not necessary.
Okay.
So, like, let's say you go into a heel, you stop, and Zoe just sits by herself. Good girl. Right? And, like, let's say she stands up. If you wanted to give a little tap to see if she goes back down again, she does. Girl, and you praise. Okay? I'm not opposed to food and stuff, but it doesn't really, like, it's not needed.
It's like one less thing I want to carry.
Yeah, you know, like you guys are dog trainers, right? You want effective obedience that you can use and not have to worry about like having all these things. Okay? Other questions?
That's it for me.
Okay. So we're gonna do another little kind of back and forth, and we'll talk about the homework and stuff. Okay? So go ahead and forward. Good. And she moved with you, so we don't need to do anything. So had she delayed, you could have just tapped, and she would have ran up to your leg.
Yeah, but you moved right away.
Good. And turn.
Is there a reason why she's trying to sit and go ahead?
Yeah, it's because she's being super cautious. Yeah.
Can I turn right now?
Tap forward, yep. Turn, tap, there you go, good. Yeah, I just saw it right when you said it. She's getting a little bit ahead. Turn, tap. Good catch, good. Good. Right.
So if she is, like, to me, I can tell she's a little bit more cautious. Would you lower the number at that point? Or
I keep it because I would give it a couple of days,
Okay.
and you'll probably see her respond to it like normal.
Okay.
Because this is completely unfamiliar to her, right? And you saw how like she was kind of looking back and forth right there? It's because she was thinking about going over to you, but she was in conflict. Good?
Should I tempt her by going closer to Josh or no?
Yeah, try it.
I'll try and come back closer, you know, see what happens.
Right, so you see how she goes to the other side? Yep, tap. There you go, and forward. There you go.
Good. Tap forward. There you go. And she speeds up a bit. There she is. Good. Slow turn. Good. Now slow down to a stop. Good. Give a tap. Good. And you can praise that.
Good girl, Zoey.
Good. Go ahead and forward. Good. Good. Tap. She got a little distracted by Bree over here.
So question, so let's say she's going ahead of me, right? I'm turning. Do I automatically tap or do I turn and if she's not following then I tap?
You turn and tap simultaneously.
Okay.
Yep.
As soon as she goes in front.
Correct. Yeah. Anytime you're doing a correctional turn, there'll always be at least one tap. If you can squeeze in more, that's great. Yep, good turn.
Let's see what happens if I get closer to her. It's fine, she went on my other leg.
Good.
Good girl, Zoey.
So like if you go to like the dog park, just walk along the fence, you know, to have controlled context, to practice her. It'd be similar to like walking past someone with their dog.
Yeah.
It's funny that you on my right side the second time on my body though.
Yeah, so the first time, like when I work with dogs that are like struggling with reactivity, they'll do that at the beginning because they're trying to give space as opposed to going into conflict. And then here she might have thought that it was, when she got tapped before, it was for going to you. So then she overcompensated by going the opposite way.
Oh, interesting.
But then you countered her, right? So then when you came back the other time, she was like, okay. And then she kind of stalled a bit, and then she got tapped, and she sped up, and then she was okay. Very good.
Good girl. Girl, Zoey.
Okay. One more, heel, or walk.
At that point, would you tap because she's so far behind?
You can, like tap here.
You want to tap here?
There she is. Now
I mean,
slow
you
down.
have to tap it.
Good. We're gonna do one more walk around. And I think you guys had said like there's reactivity like when she wants to go to greet dogs, right?
And birds.
Yeah.
Yep.
When she sees dogs in her neighborhood
Tap.
that she's friends with,
Uh-huh.
she's just like overly excited.
Yeah. And slow turn. So this should address that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, we're taking more excitement and wanting to move dogs.
Yep. Good. Okay. So you see how we're on the third tap there?
Yeah.
So here, we probably lost connection. So I'd go like 21, 22.
Okay.
If you saw this outside, because earlier on the first hit, she was full, right? So if I do 3 taps there and she's completely unfazed, then I'm thinking probably lost connection, okay? And that's the one con you call her, is,
Well, I saw the blue thing go off though.
No,
yeah,
like
but
fur
no,
response.
yeah, because of that fur. Like even if she like shakes her head or anything, it can jostle a bit, and then you'll lose connection. So that's where like just learning how to recognize whether or not you have a connection. As you practice more, it'll become more evident. So the homework for this week is this exercise. Okay. So dogs are better in smaller chunks, 15 to 20 minute sessions. So if like you did 2 50 minutes and you did 2 50 minutes, that would be ideal. Okay. Now,
1-5 or 5-0?
1-5.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a full-time job. So yeah, anytime you go for a walk, was when you would practice this.
Okay.
Start off with identifying drink first, then find that working number, then start your walk. I recommend if you leave like let's say 5 minutes away from the home, you're giving yourself 10 to 15 minutes to come back to the home. Because what can happen is because we're putting rules to things, she'll go under stress. That when she realizes you're going back home, she's going on a forge. Okay, and she's under stress, and she's thinking, I want this to end as soon as possible, so I want to pull home. Okay, but it doesn't matter if she's under stress or not; she's still got to adhere to that position. So then I'm giving myself extra time to do the corrections to make it back home. Okay, and then you're just playing with that number as needed until you find, oh, on the way home, 25 is the perfect number, and she's on my hip and she doesn't pull.
So when you first are looking, after she does her body break, right, you're looking for the number, is the idea that she's a little further from you and you're just tapping to see how quickly she gets to you?
Correct.
Or, okay, so that's kind of...
That's the most obvious way
Yeah.
to recognize that, because when you see her move, you're going to see the speed.
Okay.
Okay? So that's the easiest way for people to begin to recognize it. Otherwise, you can also see the contraction and then go by the way she responds to the contraction to know whether or not it's high enough. Okay. So, shorter walks are better. However, if all you have is, for instance, a 1 hour, like one long hour time slot to do so, that's fine too. Okay, but you're only turning when she's getting out of level.
Okay.
So
Otherwise, you keep going straight.
just go straight. Yeah, do the walk like you would normally do.
But you can go left and right, it's just the U-turn that you're saying you only do.
Correct.
Yeah.
And she's getting ahead of you.
Just
So,
yeah.
yeah, whenever she passes, it's always going to be that 180 turn like this. As long as you got the space to do so.
Yeah. By turning left or right, that's fine.
That's fine. Before you turn and before you stop, you're going to slow down.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you noticed, like when I was saying slow turn, right? Is because I can see Zoe was paying attention. So it would be unfair if she's not doing anything incorrect to just turn out of nowhere.
Got it.
Okay, so by slowing down, so you guys drive, right?
Yeah.
And so what do you do
You're
before you
giving
stop?
her an opportunity to like adjust.
Correct. She's reading what you're doing. So this class, what we're doing is we're teaching Zoe to pay attention to you.
Yeah.
The next class is going to be me teaching you how to use your body language to communicate to Zoe what you're doing.
Got it.
So it's like driving.
Yeah.
Before we turn and before we stop, we slow down. Otherwise, if you just stop, car crash.
Yeah.
And if you just turn and you're going fast, you're going to flip the car. So that's why we slow down. And then we have our blinkers and all that stuff, right? To communicate. If nobody else knows what you're doing,
Right.
only you do. Same thing for Zoe. She has no idea what you're doing. So you have to communicate. So that slowdown is very important. So if you're walking at your normal pace, right, and it's been 10 minutes and she's there, perfect. And I'm like, I'm going to make a left turn. I would slow down at least 3 steps. More is perfectly fine. Now, if you slow down and Zoe keeps going,
You turn.
correct, because you did your job. You slowed down. She wasn't paying attention. That's why she passed, turned, tap, bring her back to your leg. And then if you go back the other way, you can slow down again. And now you're
with that dog right behind you. You just so that's him walking because it happens in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where you have like dogs right behind because it's pretty crowded.
Sure.
So if you're walking, she goes in front of me. I want to turn around. There's a dog.
Sure.
12 feet from
So,
us.
yeah, so you might turn and she'll go, whoo, turn again, you know, and then if she lines up with you or syncs up with you, keep going. Then what I'd expect to see is she might be like this. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
You keep moving forward and you tap, and that you're telling her, nope, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We're going this way.
Okay.
So we're using this leg as a reference point.
Okay.
Okay, so that if she is looking back and you tap her, she's like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be here.
Okay. So pretty much you're doing U-turn and then you're doing another U-turn to get away from the dog.
Correct. Slowing down at least 2 steps, more is perfectly fine. Always before a stop and always before a turn. If you stop abruptly, she's going to pass you. Okay? And the slowing down is typically one of the things that people always forget. So once we go into the next class, it's going to make a lot more sense. It's going to be a lot more body language related. But for this week, this is all you're doing. If during the walk you decide you want to give Zoe another potty break, you would simply walk, pick the grassy area, slow down to a stop. You should stop together, wait a moment, and now use the word break. So we break. Break means your job is done. She can keep rolling around, smoke cigarette, I don't care, okay? Once you decide, okay, you're done, you start walking, tap, go.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
you didn't get her back into a sit and then.
Correct. I just start, so as long as she's here, because she's not going to be far,
Yeah.
I just start to walk and tap, and she should just come in like that. What I wouldn't do is tap her to come here, then go.
Right.
That's a little bit different. But here, if I walk and she's just like 3 feet or 4 feet away, it's just a real simple.
Okay.
We got a break, man. Oh, we're not saying the wheel this week. The tap is what's going to trigger the command. We will say the word heel, but that's next week. Okay, because what I noticed is that when I used to use heel the first class, people would come back the second class, heel, and not use the wheel. Because they thought, oh, but the dog knows the word. No. We have to condition. So by removing the word of courses, you have to use that. Okay? Only use the remote with stuff that you cover. Okay, don't try to use it for anything else. Don't try to do recall stuff or anything like that, because that's going to scare the dog away. Only stuff that you covered. If we need to correct any behaviors, like let's say eating goose poop, if she's on the leash, it's fine. But if you tap her, you correct her. Yeah. Go. Good. 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 Pump it. Up your front toes. Good. Good. Right. Good. What's the number now? 22. Okay, so you see that 3 numbers shift and she popped back up. So that's what reference point. If you try to do this with her and she looks confused, don't worry about it, because we're not teaching this formally. I'm seeing that she's kind of leaning towards that response, so I'm kind of just touching on it. The next class is when we'll really formally teach it. But yeah, let's say she's eating goose poop and she's on the leash. You can correct that, because aversives are meant to stop things.
Okay.
Right? Don't jump, don't bark, don't eat goose poop, right? But we can also use it to teach things. But when we use it to teach things, there's more involved, right? Like the heel, like you have to do these turns and stuff.
Yeah.
The teacher moves to your left leg. Okay? So it can both teach and what to do and teach what not to do. Okay? So when it's the don't do that stuff, it's simply apply the aversive, kind of like touching a hot stove. You wouldn't want to do that again. But only when she's on the leash. Okay? Or she's like at the dog park and she's like trying to like steal a dog's ball and you want to stop it, because I'm not worried about her running away. Okay, because she's in an enclosed area. Okay, once we get the recall down, then you have more freedom to start correcting things off the leash, because we're not worried she's going to run away. Okay? Questions? No. Good job, guys. So she did really well. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing out of the ordinary here. She took to it very well.